Well, all right. My friends, you are tuned into Pep Talk. And this is your host, Yadida. What time is it where you are? It is about 1:44 a.m. And here we are on Pep Talk. So you're going to hear the alarm going off. Does it stop the message when it's not perfect? What do you do when things are not perfect? Do you say, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to hold off. Or do you keep going? You've got to keep going. You have to do what you need to do by any means necessary as far as your God-given gifts, talents, and abilities. I know, I get it. Like, I've been looking at some wonderful posts on social media, and some people think like their stuff is so together. Oh my gosh, right? It looks so good and so great. But guess what? They had to start somewhere in order to get somewhere. I think many times we look at people and, maybe you've been following them for a while, maybe you haven't, and you see them at this point, but didn't see where they started from when their videos were, not where they are now, or their pictures are their selfies. But anyway, when it's not perfect, keep going. Why? Because practice helps us oftentimes to get to a better place. For some people, they may jump right into it and it's like, bam, it's awesome. But for some of us, it takes a bit of practice. I want to tell you a joke. I call myself going on to, what's that other site called? So it's not Facebook Live. What is the name of it? Anyway, whatever the name is, you could tell I don't know because I tried. And for some reason, I saw this map come up and it was like I ended up somewhere over in Africa. And the funny part was all of a sudden it said, you are about to be on so-and-so's page, or they're live or whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be on anyone's. So I don't even know how I got there. So I jumped off of that, and I haven't tried to go back on, I think, yet and someone, a friend was saying, you need to go on to this particular platform. I've been wanting to do it. Haven't done it yet, but I'll get to it. That certainly wasn't perfect. But guess what? Are we perfect? No, we serve a God who's perfect. We strive for perfection. But he's perfect, not me. And so give yourself, breathe when things don't seem like they're going all the way like they should. And the other thing is I used to call myself like a perfectionist, at least try to be one. And I would get so upset when things did not go the way that I wanted at work. If I missed a little something, oh my gosh. And my boss called me one day and said, Yadida, you do a great job. Don't try to feel like you need to be perfect. And at first I was like, gosh, but why not? No, we have to lighten up a little bit, because sometimes trying to be perfect can get us to the place where we don't do anything. And I'm using this as an example for someone. Yes, we hear the alarm in the background, but what happens when you put yourself on a schedule and you say, okay, each day I'm going to go on. For those of you who are, on a podcast hosts and what have you, or you go on your live or whatever it is that you do, as far as the gift that you have, and you say, well, I'm going to do it. And then all of a sudden, something happens. The kids didn't fall asleep. They were supposed to be asleep at 9 o'clock. I'm supposed to go on and do this live or whatever it is. Or you know what it is. Don't even have me try to figure or tell you what that thing is that you're supposed to be doing. And just because everything is not just the way you want it to be, you turn around and say, I'm not going to do it at all. Oh, never mind. Don't do that. When God gives you something to do, you have to do it. You have to, because you never know who you are encouraging. Right? It's 1:49 in the morning, right? The thing about it is, I know these are the times when some people have a difficult time falling asleep, especially if they have, something that's not going the way that they want it to. So they toss and they turn. I think a lot of us have been there. We've tossed, we turn, we toss, we turn. And we're like, oh man, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to work out, what I'm going to do, and what have you. Your voice, your book, your story, your gift, your talent, your ability could be the very thing that God uses to be a blessing to someone else. But how will you know if you are going to be that blessing? If you decide when things are not completely like they should be, that you are not going to take that step forward and do what He's called you to do. So that means that you could possibly be keeping someone from either being encouraged, from taking that step that they need to take, from starting that business, from writing that book, from being that entrepreneur, whatever it is. Because we say it's not perfect. The lighting is not right. My hair is not done. My eyebrows are not, what do they say, the young lady on Fleek, or however they say, my this or that. And we don't move forward. I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and something else comes up. And then you turn around and it's a week. Or it's a month. Now listen, I changed this battery. I promise you I did. I got right up there on the chair. I changed it. But it's still beeping. And so do I say, because I haven't been on in a while, right? Do I say, well, now I'm going to wait a little while longer and then tomorrow comes and I get busy or whatever it is? No. It's not perfect. But I'm doing what needs to be done. And that's what I want. It's not perfect, but I want you to do what needs to be done to the glory of God. That business, I keep hearing that business, right? And I know sometimes you can feel like there's so many moving parts to starting your business. I get it if that's what you're trying to do, but you've got to start somewhere. You've got to take that first step. Instead of wondering like, maybe if I take that step, I don't know, the tax is going to be too high. Listen, if you're an entrepreneur, you probably have felt that, like, is this going to be, is that? I don't know. This is not ready. That's not ready. You've got to start somewhere. You've got to do something. Right? Just come on. Seriously. I'm a book coach, and so I get to meet so many people who are like, well, I've been wanting to write a book, but I just don't know where to start. I just don't know. Like, I have a couple of books inside, but I just don't know where to start. Start someplace. Get the pen, get the paper. If you're like me, I like to type and write. Get the computer out and start somewhere. It will all come together. I'm telling you, it will. But you have to see it. It just can't be up inside your brain, like in your mind. It's not enough to be there. You've got to, the scripture says, write the vision and make it plain. Put it upon tablets that they may run, right? Why are they running? Because they see the plan. If you don't write it down, that's like me saying to you, listen, we're going to, what can I say we're going to do? We're going to, I don't know, cook a certain meal or whatever it is. And I don't tell you how to make it, or I tell you, And I'm just going at it. Yeah, the first thing you're going to do is this, that. And then you're going to turn around and do blah, 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 blah. And you'll be like, wait a minute, I didn't get that. Go back. I didn't write that down. Instructions, clear instructions are very important. They're important for our lives. They're important for our children's lives, our family, at work. If you're a manager, you've got to give your employee clear instructions. You know why? Because if you don't, 9 times out of 10, they may not want to come to you and say, I really didn't understand what you said. So instead, what happens is that it takes them a day, many hours to do something that could have taken half an hour because they don't have the understanding. And just ask them, hey, did you understand? If they have that look of, if you're a manager, when your employee doesn't understand, there's this look on their face sometimes, like a deer caught in headlights, like, you can go back and ask them, hey, did you understand? Do you need me to, just go over it or just go over it? Just want to make sure, you sure you got it? It's okay if you don't. Hey, this is what you have to do. But the clear instructions. We knew that we needed to write out a book, sometimes a manual, so that the next person who came along would be able to just look at that manual and say, oh, this is how they do it. This is how they did it. Putting the instructions in place so that they could understand. For your children, I know sometimes with our children, we just want them to get it. Come on, did you get that? Listen, when you get up in the morning, go brush your teeth, wash your face, go do this and that. And they don't do things in the order that we want them to all the time. It's true. We have to give them some flexibility. They're not us, right? When we were children, they are themselves. And so we give them some flexibility. It helps to make life a little easier. But the clear instructions is what helps so that they can get it. So even if it's not perfect all the time. Children don't do things perfectly. I mean, we don't do things perfectly. How do we expect them to get it right all the time? And their minds, like, they think differently. They have a 10-year-old is not going to get it like a 15 or 16. It depends, right? And so we give them grace for not being perfect. We have to give ourselves grace for not being perfect. Because we're not. God is perfect. And so cut yourself some slack. Give yourself some slack there when you don't get it right all the time. Give yourself some grace, some mercy. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't judge yourself so hard or judge other people so hard when they don't get it right. Let's give some flexibility. Like, I'm going to give this alarm some flexibility. Give yourself some flexibility. When you don't get it right, when it's not lined up 100% the way that you want it to, and keep working at it and somehow look past you where you are right now. Be thankful. Oh, I got that done, right? Celebrate a little bit when you get those small tasks done, because small tasks getting done add up to big tasks being done. It all can be used for the bigger picture. Let's not look at the small things and say, well, I didn't finish all of that. I needed to do that, but I just got this little bit. That little bit is a part of the big picture. And so be glad, be thankful when you get the little bit done, when you accomplish the small task. Celebrate. Check that off. I got that done. It's not perfect, but it's part of the big picture. And I did accomplish something. So keep working at it. Keep plugging at it.